Hey gang, Alex here. Bulldozer Man suffering from the sniffles at the moment, so I'm filling in to voice the video for him. Man, oh man, Glover sure is a flawed little game, isn't it? While it does have its charm still, hence why it's become a cult classic, it wasn't without a few glitches along the way. And oh dear God, does this game have glitches? So let's take a look at some of my favorites. Oh, and I should note, a lot of these glitches will involve the various cheat codes you get when you finish normal mode with 100% completion, so just bear that in mind. This game truly has no polish. You're gonna find plenty of glitches with this one. Hell, I'm discovering new ones all the time, such as going straight through this platform, passing through this wall for no real reason, wonky physics with teleporters. Special thanks to General Snivy for this video clip, since I couldn't get this glitch to trigger myself, no matter what I tried. At the end of Carnival 1, there's this rocket ship that you take to finish the level. But if you're bouncing too much when you enter the rocket, when it disappears into the skybox, you fall right through it and back into the level. This results in a soft lock that forces you to redo the entire level. The worst time for it to happen, at the end of a stage. Speaking of wonky collision detection, come over to Atlantis 2 and position yourself in front of this breakable block like this. When you let go of the ball, you'll fall right through the platform. How on earth did they miss this in testing? In the Pirates 2 level, at the start, you see this lobster walking through these cards. But if you lose a life here for any reason, when you respawn, instead of being down here, he's now on this narrow walkway up above. No idea why this is a thing, but I have a feeling he's supposed to spawn on this walkway to begin with, and clips through it to land on the platform below when the stage initially loads in. If this is the case, then it's interesting to note that this is the only enemy in the entire game who behaves this way, which makes me truly wonder why this is a problem with this guy exclusively. Thanks, programmers, for making a boss that can insta-kill you during the respawn animation. No, seriously. And while I was getting video footage of that, I had this absolute chaos with Glover, the ball, and one of the smaller monkeys occur. I have no idea what the hell just happened, but this fight in of itself is pretty glitchy. That face says it all. Let's move away from the bosses now and back to the overworld. At the top of the Crystal Castle, there's this entranceway that doesn't go anywhere. It's not intended that you can get up here at any point, but I think this is the doorway to a scrapped level or area that was left in the final game and just goes unused. Not a glitch by conventional means, but certainly not intended. As long as we're on top of the Crystal Castle, let's try another glitch on for size. Leap down from the top of the castle towards the wishing well that goes to the training level. If you do it just right, Glover will clip the side of the well and die, and enter the training level at the same time. But now, his hearts are glitched out, and he technically has no health. Does this mean Glover's a zombie now? You can finish the training level and go into the normal levels in this state. Although, if Glover gets hurt even once, he respawns and the glitch is corrected. While we're in the overworld, let's look at a glitch with the speed potion, which you can trigger manually using this cheat code. When holding the ball, Glover is extremely fast, while the speed potion is active. So fast, in fact, he even outruns the camera. The same thing happens if you use the Powerball. The Powerball and low gravity can often be paired up to really break this game. Try them out in the overworld along with the speed potion if you really want to see how fast Glover can go. Hey, that reminds me of something.
Rolling around at the speed of sound. Got places to go, gotta follow my rainbow.
Well, until I accidentally bounced too high and flew right out of the overworld. Too bad. Low gravity in of itself can absolutely wreak havoc on this game. Look what it does to the Atlantis boss. The guy hangs in the air much longer than he should, making his attack pathetically easy to avoid, or extremely easy to run into if you try using the ball as a trampoline here. Thanks, seriously. speaking of low gravity, look what it does to the Powerball in the overworld. What? That little drop was just high enough to pop the ball? This happens because the game has a set limit for how far the ball can fall before it thinks it's fallen into a bottomless pit. With low gravity and the Powerball's higher throw height, bouncing it and then throwing it while standing next to the Crystal Castle is just high enough to trick the game into thinking the ball has fallen into a bottomless pit, hence why it punctures and costs you a life. The same thing happens if you slap the ball off the top of the Crystal Castle, regardless if low gravity is enabled or not. This game in general doesn't seem to care much for its platforms. How? How did I pass through the ground here and fall to my death? Did they even test this thing? Like, at all? This clip right here, this isn't the emulator screwing up. That's actually Glover itself, chugging with frame drops galore for no real reason. No idea why this happens here. This bee that shoots exploding stingers at you can be pretty buggy in of itself. That stinger can send you flying all over the place, although most often you'll go flying off the level. So results with these guys may vary. And speaking of enemies who like to make a big bang, let's talk about this hopping dynamite stick. More specifically, this one in Fortress of Fear 3. This guy's explosion radius is insanely huge, so much so that even if you leave your ball somewhere extremely far away, 9 chances out of 10, when this guy explodes, he'll send the ball flying off the level, even though he was nowhere near it. I find this to be very suspicious, since the same enemy who shows up in Fortress of Fear 2 doesn't seem to have anywhere near as huge of a blast radius. Maybe it's the same, maybe it isn't, but I'm not finding any evidence of it being the same for both levels, leading me to believe that this is, in fact, a glitch. Alright, this is just plain weird. Remember how I said the game has a set limit for how far the ball can fall before it thinks it fell into a pit? The same thing applies to Glover, except when there's a platform below him. But in situations like this one, in Out of This World 3, this little tiny gap in between the conveyor belts is just wide enough that if you fall towards it from the upper platform just right, the game thinks you fell into the pit and instantly kills you before you can even land on the platform. So yeah, there's that! It doesn't make any sense. Alright, one last glitch before we close it out for today. I have no idea what this is, but if you jump around the volcano at the end of Prehistoric 3 and use throw hovering, as I like to call it, to levitate your way down safely, you'll see what looks like a giant checkpoint underneath the stage. It's not intended for you to be able to see or interact with this in any way, and it seems to have the same properties as the lava in this stage, in that it instantly kills you and the ball upon landing on it. I have no idea why this is here or what it's for. Maybe someone can go down in the comments section and explain this to me so I'm not left sitting here looking confused.